The year I turned 10, my father passed the imperial exams at the top of his class. My mother died under a client at a brothel, and my father sent people to claim her body. And just like that, he took me with him, brought me to a courtyard that smelled like flowers. He pointed to a little girl standing there, dressed head to toe in silk, about the same age as me. "This is Ming Yu, my daughter. Does that make her my little sister?" "What are you talking about? She's your mistress from now on." That hit me like a wall. I barely had time to ask why before my father let out a cold laugh. "You little animal, don't even know who your real father is. And you think you can call me dad?" "Exactly. Your mom was the top girl at the brothel and had hundreds of husbands. Nobody even knows whose kid you are." "I don't want a sister like you. That was my father. There was no way I was wrong. For as long as I could remember, every time he came to see my mother, he'd bring me something. Sometimes candied hawthorn, sometimes sticky green rice cakes. He'd toss me up into the air and laugh, saying, 'Daddy's little pearl is growing up.' The last time I saw him, he cupped my face in his big hands and told me to wait. He said, 'Just wait, and I'd have a good life.' But I didn't understand. If this was supposed to be a good life, why did it just mean being a servant somewhere new? Daddy, she won't listen." Seeing me go quiet, Ji Mingyu tugged at my father's sleeve and pouted. He ruffled her hair with a fond smile. Then he handed her a whip. "Remember what Daddy taught you. Animals that don't listen get the whip." "Same goes for people." Ji Mingyu snatched up that whip with a huge grin and brought it straight down on me. She was only 4 or 5, didn't have much strength, but absolutely no restraint. After a few lashes, I could barely stay on my feet. I collapsed to my knees, begging through tears. "Father, please, Mingju was wrong. Mingju is willing to serve Sister Mingyu." But the words had barely left my mouth when the head servant stepped forward and slapped me across the face. It was a brutal hit. I crumpled sideways and she planted her foot on my head and screamed down at me. "In this household, there is only the master and the second young miss. You call him that again, and I'll throw you right back to that brothel. You'll end up just like your filthy mother, serving men for the rest of your life." "You're not Mingju anymore, you're a servant. Your name is Aju." I could only sob and comply. From that day on, no more father, only master of the Qi household. No more little sister, only second young miss. Being Qi Mingyu's maid did absolutely nothing to make my life better. Everyone in that courtyard could boss me around whenever they felt like it, from scrubbing laundry to sweeping fallen leaves. One mistake, and it was insults, beatings, the stick, the whip. At first I fought back, but every time I did, what came back was harder and more vicious than before. Eventually I was just broken. I learned to keep my head down and my mouth shut. At the end of it all, even washing Qi Mingyu's feet became my personal job, and she was as spoiled as they come. Water too cold? Too warm? She'd kick the basin over, then prop her soft little foot right on top of my head, laughing while she called me a low-born slave. It wasn't like I never thought about running. I actually made it over the courtyard wall once. They dragged me back and they broke my leg. A broken bone should have meant rest. But barely 10 days in, the head servant yanked me out of bed and made me wash clothes in ice-cold water in the middle of winter. After that, I walked with a limp. Everyone in the estate called me Stinky Cripple, but things started to shift when I turned 15. Years of being underfed hadn't stopped my face from growing into something striking. Bright eyes, full lips. People couldn't help but look. Qi Mingyu, whose looks were getting plainer by the day, was furious. She tried to slash my face with a knife more than once. The first madam always stopped her. The first madam looked me over carefully, eyes drifting until they landed on my nose. I knew my nose wasn't the delicate button kind most girls had. It was strong, high-bridged, refined, and it was the exact same nose as Master Qi. She stared at me for a long moment, then finally waved her hand. And just like that, I went from grunt servant to Qi Mingyu's study companion. She told me my life belonged to her, and that I was to protect Qi Mingyu with it. I dropped to my knees right in front of her. "This servant's life belongs to the madam. I will do everything in my power to protect the second young miss." The first madam looked at me with deep satisfaction, like she was admiring something she'd crafted perfectly. After assigning me as Qi Mingyu's companion, she also arranged private tutors to teach me the arts. But the music was seductive ballads, the books were forbidden erotic texts, and the paintings were explicit. None of it was new to me. I grew up in a brothel. I'd seen and heard it all since I was small. It would have been hard not to understand it, so I picked it up fast. Even the tutors said I was gifted. When they praised me, I just smiled to myself. The first madam grew more and more pleased with me. She cupped my face in her hand and smiled softly. "Just like your mother. Born to serve, it's in your blood." I kept my head slightly bowed and smiled. Sweet, obedient. Not a trace of anything else showed. In Qi Mingyu's eyes, I was nothing but a lowly slave whose entire existence depended on her, so I had no right to learn, no right to be praised by anyone. The fact that I was even her study companion was, to her, a personal humiliation. So in the classroom, she constantly looked for ways to embarrass me. I don't remember exactly which day it was. On the way to class with Qi Mingyu, I was wearing a soft pink fabric flower, a reward from the tutor. It was tiny, barely any color to it, nothing flashy, but Qi Mingyu spotted it the moment she saw me. Just one look, and she slapped me across the face, sending my carefully done hair flying. "Are you here to study, or are you here to flirt?" I had no idea what I'd done wrong. I dropped to my knees by instinct, begging for mercy. If I could just get her to calm down, maybe I'd escape the beating. But she clearly wasn't letting it go. She ripped the flower from my hair, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it. She ground it into the dirt until it was shredded and muddy. Only then did she lift her foot. "A broken flower suits you perfectly," she said. "Pick it up and put it back on." My eyes stung. But I reached down, took the ruined flower, and wound it into my disheveled hair. I just finished and was about to stand when Qi Mingyu shoved her foot down onto my shoulder. Where do you think you're going? Stay on your knees. Let everyone walking by get a good look. This is what a worthless little wretch looks like. Then she walked away without a single glance back. She was certain I wouldn't fight back. And she was right. I knelt there the entire day.